Hey guys, we're about to do another video on the Caravan, and today I'm going to do something totally different. I keep needing a sheet metal bender all the time on just about everything I do, and I can't really justify the expense of going and buying one, and if I do, they're huge things that take up a lot of room and they're really heavy, but I need one a lot of the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one, and that's what we're going to do in this video. So it's a little bit off topic, but I'm going to need it for the next thing we do on the Caravan to fix this damage down here. So we're going to get ready and have a go at it. Right, I've been doing some thinking about how I'm going to build this thing. I've got some ideas online, but mine's going to be quite different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build it so it fits on top of my bench. So I'm going to use angle. So I've just cut this bit out here. I'm just going to run it around the whole bench so it sits on top, and possibly even bolt it to the bench. We've set up the saw on the steel saw ready to go. So I'm going to cut some bits out, lay them out, then we'll sort of tack weld it together and see where we go from there. I've just laid this out and tacked it up. I've done miter joins on the corners, which is certainly not my best work. A few gaps to fill in there. This material that I'm using here is pretty thin. It's only 40 by 3. But the stuff that I'm going to put down this edge here is a 50 by 5. So it's a lot bigger and a lot stronger, and I'll just join it to the rest of it because this is going to be the bending area, so it needs to be strong. I've just laid down this beam that we're going to use for the front, which is big, thick, heavy stuff. So what I need to do to make everything sit flat is I've got to cut that there and grind down a little bit lower so that'll sit down nice and flat, and then weld that edge. I've just centered it up here with the table and do the same on that side. So I think I'll do that now. I've just cut out ready to put this bit of angle in, which still needs to be tidied up. But I was just about to weld that in, or get it tidied up and weld it in. And I thought the most important thing, of course, is, I'll show you over here, these two bits, which are going to make up the folder, have to be perfectly aligned, and if I'd welded this on first it would have made that difficult. So what I'm doing here is that has to be mint all the way along, which is pretty close, a bit of adjustment there, but pretty much there. So what I'm going to do is I've got an old scrap piece of metal. I'm going to cut that. That's going to be our pin. I'm going to make a hinge here, weld one side to this, weld them on both sides so it'll turn, and then this will be our pin. So I'm going to do that now. I've welded these on. I'll put a weld on that side and a weld on that side, sort of either side of that line in the middle. And I'll put big, like, triple welds on there. Although they're not pretty, it puts as much strength in as it possibly can. Done the same on this side. Weld on the side. So technically hopefully when I cut through the middle of that pin there and then put a hinge pin in it, the whole thing should hinge. If that makes sense. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Might be a little bit too tight, I think, on the first video. There we go. I think these pins in the end are just a little bit too tight, so I might just drill those out just to hollow them out a bit, but other than that, looks like it's going to work. Alright, we'll have a play. I've welded this together, as you saw. They open up okay, but and this here is just simulating where your sheet metal is going to go through to be bent. But one thing I didn't anticipate with not having a lot to do with hanging doors or anything is, I'll show you here, massive gap when the hinge opens up. So that's not going to work. That's got to stay tight all the way through its rotation to give a decent bend. Good old compressor goes off again. So look, that's not going to work, so I'm going to have to go and buy some industrial hinges that open nice and tight and put them on tomorrow. So we'll call it quits until then. It's the next day, and I spent the last hour or so mucking around putting these, taking off my made up hinges and putting on proper hinges. Which work quite well, but I've still got this gap here. I'll just show you. So these are the hinges that I've put on, which are probably a lot better than my not so good made up hinges. A couple of bolts short, but I can sort that out later. It does operate a lot better, but when you bend it, you still have that gap. Not knowing, I've never ever used a sheet metal bender in my life, so I'm just going to carry on, build the thing and hope that it works. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run some flat bar between the front and rear, whatever you want to call them, beams here, and then I'm going to weld them in. I probably don't need them, but it's just going to maybe help make it that little bit stronger. So I'm just going to cut these out. even fit. Okay, I'm just going to tidy these up a little bit and measure them out, and then I'll weld them in. I've just put these two in here. Not that they'll probably do a lot, but it might help the sheet metal to slide nicely, along there. So I've just tacked them at this stage. I'm not going to bother welding. Everything's tacked. So the next thing I'm going to do is put this bit of angle on top, which will act as the clamp, so I'll play with that. I've just welded on these tabs here, and the way that's going to work is you're going to have basically a spring. Of course that'll be underneath here and the bolt will go through, and your bolt that goes through the top and screws the bar down, and the spring will lift it back up again. The pitfall I've got is, and I didn't think of it, I've sort of limited my bend. Now, chances are I'll probably never go beyond 90 anyway, but if it becomes an issue, we'll just have to fix it later. Okay, the next thing we've got to do is we've got to make this clamp nice and sharp so we get a good bend. I've just spot welded it to the bench just to hold it because the clamp doesn't sort of fit. If I was smart, I would have put it closer to the edge. I'm going to run the grinder with some paper on it rather than a grinding blade. There goes our lovely compressor again. Just turn it off. I'm just going to try and keep it as flush as I possibly can. I'm going to start with a P36, go to a 60, then a 120. I'll record it, but I'll put it on time lapse because it'll be a bit boring otherwise. Right, done. And you can see it is nice and sharp. Or sharp as you can get it with a angle grinder with a sanding pad on it. Alright, we'll cut it back off the bench and mount it and see how we go. Alright, I'm just going to mark this and drill it, and then we'll see if it works. Try and drill these straight. That'll be the next thing. bugger, that hole needs to be further out. Alright, do some more investigation. Okay, a bit of an update. This thing has been kicking my ass for hours. These tabs here, because the old ones weren't long enough, I had to cut them out and put new ones on. I'll just show you. This is the old one here. As you can see, it just doesn't come out far enough to get the bolt through the bottom, and that's just got a weld on it at the moment, which is temporary. We're going to tidy everything up later. It also means by using the bigger angle, my springs weren't long enough, so I had to put a couple of bolts and nuts in there, but they actually work alright. So I just tried bending a piece of aluminium, which was pretty difficult without a handle on it, but it did work. So basically how it works, you just try and do this and hold on to the camera at the same time. Sorry guys, bad filming. But that just winds down and closes up the gap there. Same on the other side. You should have seen that coming down. And then when you want to take it up, you'll just see it open up a little bit there. And then same on the other side. And that's how it works. So what we've got to do is put a bit of a bolt up here with some supports coming down that way to put pressure down in the middle, and then we're going to make a handle. Not sure whether I should just put it straight down or have it coming out on a 45. Okay, but I'll have a look at that next. I've just finished cutting these out. I was just checking out how to make the handle, whether I go 45 or flat, and I've decided on 45 because that should go in something like that. Or that. And we'll weld it up. It's going to be a pain, but we'll give it a go. I've just welded a piece of extra bit of angle in there. Excuse the welds, not flash. Just to strengthen it up, that middle part. So now we're just going to figure out where the handles go. Okay, it's the next morning. I worked on this reasonably late last night, but I put the handle on and I've decided to go for the 45-degree angle on it. It's not finished yet. Got to weld that middle bar and cut it to length and do all the final welds, which I've got to do on everything, but yeah. Just sort of roughing it in now, and then once I'm happy with it, I'll finish it. There's a couple of bends that I did. Well, I've been bending everything I can find. So that's how it bends there. I'm pretty happy with it, really. Bends are pretty sharp on the end, but in the middle you can see they're not quite as sharp, so I'm going to have to build something in the middle that can force the middle of it down. So I'm going to have a crack at that now. I've just welded this bolt on just to put some downward pressure on the middle of the clamp. I don't really know what I'm doing, but hopefully it'll work. And I've just bent up, pretty hard to see with the camera, this bar here, which I'm going to weld on. I'm going to do one both sides. Let's see if that works. I've just bent these bars up here and tacked them into place. What I did is just ground out a sort of a square hole that they could sit in nicely, so that I can weld them in. Hopefully this will work. I think it will. So what I'm going to do now is everything's tacked into place. I'm going to start final welding, and I'll start with this clamp. I'll weld that up, then we'll put it back on and try it out. Alright, fabrication's finished now, and all the sanding, grinding, a whole lot. So I'm going to throw them into primer. Then we'll put a top coat on. I'm going to paint them, paint it black, and then we'll reassemble it. Altogether this thing weighs a ton, but individually these components aren't too bad. So you'd probably store it like that and throw it together when you need it. So got all the nuts and bolts over here on the bench, and I'll just throw it together now and see how we go. Paint's a little bit tacky, but it'll be right. I'll put that together on the bench because it's too hard to try and hold the clamp at the same time. So hopefully that'll work. Now hinges. Go that way. Shouldn't really take too long to put together.
While you're doing that, should I show them the bolts?
Can do. Alright, getting these ones in will do the trick. I tried to assemble it before, trying to hang on to this big heavy thing as well, and it bent a hinge. So
It looks very wet on this side, Dad.
wet.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit tacky, it'll be fine. Okay, nuts and bolts. Alright, we'll just put the nuts on it. Make a start on those, and we'll just do them up with the impact driver.
Not saying the brand because of copyright.
I don't think it matters with the amount of people that we've got watching this. Although we are up to close to 600 odd views, I think it is, 550, 600, which is pretty good.
And almost at 50 subscribers.
Yeah. We just need more people to like and subscribe. That helps us. So, I think we'll whack it all on loose to begin with. And we'll just nip it up. It's just taken way longer than what I thought to make this thing, but hopefully it'll be handy.
When I first saw this, to me it looked like a suspension.
One thing I haven't said while I've been filming is this is going to come in more handy than what I thought, because yesterday I bought another lightweight. I bought a lightweight.
Surprise.
I bought a lightweight 1300, which has got a really nice interior. It's way up in Doubtless Base. It's a 4-hour drive. It's got a nice interior, but the outside's very rough. So
Oh, it's not that bad.
yeah, but what we're going to do is we're going to reskin it. So this bender will come in handy, big time for that. Why won't this go in?
There'll be some good content re-skinning a Caravan.
There will be. And we'll have to do all the splash panels and that underneath as well. This is not playing the games, folks.
Would you say that we are like a DIY channel?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Where won't you go in? I bet ya these hinges are around the wrong way, but there's
Should be right.
no, you just put that one in now. It should go down. There we go. Okay. All right.
In the bolt ready.
Good boy. Multitasking. This is definitely just out very ever so slightly. Alright, put some nuts on this one. Away.
If you're watching this channel with headphones, say rip.
Say what?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace to what?
Your ears.
Oh, when we start hitting it with the impact driver. That's why I didn't film the grinder.
And if you're watching this late at night, I recommend you to turn your volume down right away.
Okay, that one doesn't want to go on for some reason. Okay, put that one on without a washer. It's got a shoulder bolt on it, so it should be alright.
So the other side is just on loose right now.
Yeah, everything's loose until we always put everything on loose first,
So you can adjust it.
so you can sort of wobble things around a bit and make them fit. Makes your life a lot easier. So it's a little bit of an ordeal to put together, but if you're,
Yeah, if you've
going
got
to
the right
spend a
tools.
day like doing splash panels on a Caravan or that sort of thing, this is going to make life a great deal easier. Alright, let's make some noise. It's rowdy, isn't it?
That's not on. That's not on properly. I was
What?
The spanner.
Boom. Won't do it without a nut on it, eh?
So we're using 10 millimeters, are we? Of
Yeah, 10 mil. M6 bolts. M6 by 20s.
like you say
And
the
they
most.
can, we don't have to cut the bolts off because it hangs out the side of the.
Like you say, the most used tool is your 10 millimeter spanner.
That is my most used tool. 10 mil spinner. Or 10 mil socket spinner. Yeah.
I'll suck it with Another one.
Yeah.
By the way, we did build this.
Oh, that's why. Look, they're down here.
By the way, we did build this. We did build this table that we are working on at the moment.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah.
Gets used and abused every day.
And it has one singular brake. It can push down. There you go.
Right. So,
This last one. Hey Dad, what did you do there?
what do you mean? Losing it. Losing it. Alright. So, be careful of fingers.
PSA.
Look at that. Let it just pop on.
And now, I want you to just put it right here.
There we go. Look at that. So,
Oh, it's too heavy.
make sure I put the sharp edge to the front.
Then I'll get suspension.
Yep, so I'll get one of those.
Okay, the other.
So, the other nuts are welded on the bottom.
Oh, so you just take these off?
No, they're just going to go, oh, you will, yeah. So it goes under like that.
Can I try?
If you want to.
There you go. I'm gonna hold the camera.
So wind it up like that. And they can stay on there now. And it goes in there, the nuts.
Okay. I thought
So
it
be
was...
careful of those that I
hold the
don't.
camera. I'll try the other side.
You putting it on there?
So like that?
No, spring on the bottom.
Oh, so...
Spring. Now put a nut on it. Wind the nut up first. Yeah, that'll do it.
And then...
Now I'll swap you be the cameraman again, because I don't want to cross thread those.
Okay.
Okay, that one's good. Just have to put on sort of most way to the others. Doing that.
Wondering what I'm doing. I'm just putting it in there. My toes. Do you want me to wind up by the drill or nah?
No, just want to go in there just gently at the moment, just make sure we're all good, which we are. So we're there. I think we're compressing that spring a little bit too much.
Is that size what, number 19?
Yeah. I just want to make sure that that's, so that's down through there now, so that's okay. Just when you put it on for the first time, you just want to make sure it's... Put it on with that battery tool. It just winds it up real quick, and if you cross thread in, it'll just strip it in no time at all.
These brakes do not work at all.
We'll just try it with that.
Careful.
Don't like that.
Sorry about the light. Oh. We're very fortunate to have this garage, eh? To have this garage and like the correct tools to do up stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's always handy just to have the right equipment, and you could go to like Bunnings and buy a $50 set.
I'm just going to take this off.
That lasts you a week.
Just run that through, make sure everything's alright.
That was a strip.
Oh, that's okay. Put that through there. That's better.
Well, that's winding up. Up there.
Okay, so they're sweet now. I'm going to put this bolt in the middle. Hopefully this works. I sort of just want to speed this process up a bit.
Wouldn't the paint disturb the thread?
Not really, it's okay. Of course we don't want to hit it too hard. Do that up quite tight. Okay, I don't want to do it up any tighter than that. Right.
That's
so,
it.
now we're going to try a bend.
Oh, okay. I'll get some. Is that the middle right there?
Release this up. It raises up. That's raised up on that side. Yeah, I want to try that one.
Oh, it's sharp.
Because we did this bend
Yeah.
before we put this bit on. So,
Let us know in the comments what you think.
yeah.
For a bit of scrap metal. It's not scrap anymore though.
No, so I can lift that right up. And now we'll just wind this down. see is if this bend is sharper all the way along than that one. So it should be about 90 there, hopefully. How am I going to get it out of there? Didn't think of that, did I? I didn't think of that. Alright, that bar right off, which is a pain, but it doesn't matter. Got it? A bit tight that one. So.
Oh my god, it's a coil over.
Right, let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's fine. It
Does?
actually does work.
Does? Right down the barrel. Ooh.
This one sort of loses it a bit in the middle. It's sharp there,
And then
sharp there, and it's not sharp in the middle. But this one, it's a little bit different, but it's really quite consistent all the way along. I'm going to call that a win.
okay, so
Sheet metal bender for under $150. That fits on your workbench. I'm happy with that. And it's going to be very, very, see how sharp, see that line in there? Look at that line down there. You see that line down through there? Look how sharp that is. You see this one?
yeah.
That's the one we're looking at. That's really quite sharp there. And if I turn it around and compare it to that one, that's not as sharp. See how it's sharp there, and it's sharp down the bottom, but it loses it in the middle. But that one doesn't.
Can't really see it on the camera.
Can't you? But see that bend there? And that one there, that's got more of a radius than that one. That one's quite sharp. So, what that's telling us is this bolt here sort of tends to force the middle down, really.
Is that good?
It is good. Alright. Well, that's completely off topic from fixing caravans, but it will be handy. So, next video we'll get back to fixing the accident damage on that caravan.